Hey everybody, how you doing? Good to see you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I see Minister Schultz is in here first, and I'm still in Los Angeles. I'm about to head back home, and I was here in LA this weekend doing a Black Wealth training camp, and it was a lot of fun. In fact, it worked so well that I think I'm going to do a digital version of the training camp in the near future. So if you like to be ready when we make the announcement. Just make sure you connect with us via text. Just text the word stock to 31996. If you text stock to the number 31996, I'll send you the link to let you guys know how you can get a discount. Hey, Coco Cinderella, she said, I finally found your new page. Yeah, I got booted off my old page on Instagram. I was reading Dr. Claude Anderson books, and apparently that violates Facebook's terms of service. You're not actually technically supposed to mention any specific racial group. You're not supposed to single out any specific racial group, which means I probably was in violation, I'm sure, because I talk about Black people all the time. So I'm always singling out Black people. Yeah, she says, we missed you. Well, I appreciate it. I figured the internet's so big, ain't nobody really going to miss me. I mean, yeah, I had about 430,000 followers, but there's thousands of pages and probably millions of them. And I actually like having a smaller page because it's easier to handle. I was getting so many messages from so many people, and I had my backup page, which by the way is Dr. Boyce Finance, Dr. Boyce Finance. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, you go to Dr. Boyce Finance. I am not coming back to Facebook ever. I'm not coming back to Facebook. I don't enjoy Facebook at all. I don't like it anymore. I was getting too many messages. That stuff messes with your mental health. Social media detox is very real, and I highly recommend it for anybody because social media just will drive you insane. So just don't mess with that stuff if you don't want to. We do actually have a platform that's similar to Facebook called Blag Enough, BLAGGENUF. I'll type that on the screen so you can see how to spell it. But feel free to join Blag Enough. You have to get permission to join though. We don't let everybody in, but you can fill out the questionnaire, and our team goes in once every few days, and we let people in. But Blag Enough is kind of a private social media network. It operates a lot like Facebook. You can actually find people in your neighborhood that you can connect with, and it's pretty cool. It's not, we tried to build our own platform. We literally spent $100,000 trying to get engineers to build us a Black social media platform. It did not work. It was very frustrating. We wasted so much money with this company. But after we hit $100,000, I said we can't afford to keep doing this. So we went with something called Mighty Networks, where they already have it already pre-built. And so we did that, and that allowed us to get away from dependence on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, because they can deplatform you, and they deplatform anything that's seen as racially controversial, which is really interesting, right? If you really think about America, how funny is it that gangster rappers and people that rap about killing Black people and raping women and stealing money and all that's not seen as dangerous. But I'm not a criminal. I don't break the law. All I do is talk about education and having healthy families and making good decisions. But people like me are seen as dangerous. I think that says a lot about our society. The fact that Lil Wayne has more access to Kamala Harris than some of our leading scholars and thinkers in the community, that should explain to you why your problems don't get solved. Because Lil Wayne's a great rapper, but he's also a confused man and a drug addict. So if you're leaning on drug addicts to solve your most important problems, then why would you be shocked if those problems don't get solved? That doesn't make any sense. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. The platform's called Blag Enough, and it's actually on the screen, BLAGGENUF. And also, this podcast is also on Spotify. So if you look me up, look up either my name or look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify. We just crossed 1.1 million downloads, so a lot of y'all are already on Spotify. So feel free to jump in there, though. Somebody says he's not confused, though. I don't know. I think he is confused. I think Lil Wayne is a product of he's been through a lot of stuff. I mean, the poor guy got shot, I think, when he was 12 or 13. So he's been through a lot of that trauma that's in our hoods. So my heart goes out to him. But he talks about drinking all that lean and all that stuff, and how that's really messed up. These guys get in their 30s and 40s, and they start having health problems because of it. And I think that the reason your men are so jacked up, you have a lot of really like a lot of your black men are just not ready to lead. They're not ready to necessarily head a family. They're not ready. They're not interested in taking responsibility. Not all of them. Not all of them. I'm not talking about every man. I'm talking about like some of the men that they prop up. These little boys end up looking up to men that are actually little boys in the head. And so when you women are out here trying to date and you're 35 years old and you're wondering why these men are so messed up, well, it's a lot of them aren't really men. They weren't even raised by men. Manhood is like being an accountant. If I want to be an accountant, I gotta go to I gotta go like get training on how to be an accountant. I can't just assume I'm gonna know what to do. So a lot of our men never got manhood training, and I think that's just the way they want it. I really think that masculine black men are very scary. I don't know. Give me a guess if you agree. I think masculine black men scare the crap out of white people who want you to be weak. They want you to be a victim. They want you to feel sorry for yourself. They want you to be lost. They want you to be confused. Like somebody made a great joke where they said that like they were talking about universities. It was a university professor who made a joke where he said that he said it said something like the university figures out that colonialism stole that through colonialism the university stole land from black people, and so the university's response is to appoint a white man as the dean of colonialism. Right, that's what they do. So they'll just go and sort of pay themselves to acknowledge a problem, but not really actually solve it. Do you get it? I hope you guys get the joke. So ultimately, it's just something that just happens. Now let's see. Now these are legitimate questions. Brother James says, so why would they reach out to him and not our scholars like you? Well, they reach out to entertainers because entertainers are not really going to ask the hard questions. Entertainers are just there for the party. They're there to sing and dance and rap and be popular and all that. I mean, think about this. Think about Has anybody ever thought about how weird it is that we literally have music where a black man can stand on the stage? Pay attention now. This is in the world of Black Lives Matter. I need y'all to think about this. You have black men that will stand on the stage in front of 100,000 white people, call himself the N word repeatedly, and rap about murdering black people. And all the people in the crowd start cheering. So he says, Die, N word, die." Like all the white people are like, "That's so great. That's so gangster. That's so amazing." Right? And then the same week, that same person will be like, "Black lives matter. The police are killing our black men." And I'm like, "But wait, once you just didn't you make that song Die N-word die?" Does anybody else why is it so weird that I say this and only a few people understand the contradiction? Is the cognitive dissonance that deep that we don't understand that you can't complain about being killed and celebrate being killed at the same time? It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. And the best I can see is that the lights and the money, it kind of blinds us to what's healthy and what's not. We think something's good and healthy because somebody got paid a lot of money to do it. But a lot of this stuff is not healthy. It's not good. It's not leading to good outcomes. I mean, just look around. Look at how many a lot of these kids are graduating from school, can't read, can't write, can't do math, ain't ready for nothing. And then you wonder why your families are failing and your community's failing because a man who doesn't have any skill or any will or any strategic ability to a strategic thinking ability is going to have a hard time taking responsibility and leading the family. So I just really think that you have to really challenge that and kind of think about that. All right. So anyway, let me just go through the questions. All right. So let's see. C Dub, good evening to you. Hey, Minister Schultz. C Dub says always great to get lives at any hour. How was the LA event this weekend? It was really great. Not an empty seat in the room, and we had a great time. And in fact, I'm going to do that Black Wealth Bootcamp training digitally for those of you that couldn't make it to Los Angeles. LA is kind of like a stomping ground, so we're going to probably do some more events in LA just because I'm doing some more business out here. So I figured this would be just a good place to like consistently do an event, maybe once every 3 or 4 months, so I can do something live. But we're going to do something digital too. So if you get on the text list, text the word stock to 31996. Not only will I send you our $5 a day investing plan, I'll also send you some other stuff. Like I have a training called How to Make Money Without Working that a lot of people seem to like. And I'll send you a lot of good stuff like that. All right. Hey, Vic, Just Blaze says, tell T-Boz I said I love her. I have not spoken to T-Boz ever in my life, but T-Boz is my cousin. And if somebody asked her, they said, are you Dr. Boyce Watkins' cousin? And she said, no, that's not true, T-Boz. And I can tell you exactly how we're related. Her grandfather is named Sam. My grandfather's name is Matt. Sam and Matt were siblings, or they're siblings, obviously, and but they did not speak for years because I think something happened, I think, where Matt loaned Sam $10,000 and Sam never paid him back. So this is actually the kind of stuff I wrote about in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, that little things like that, that's financial trauma. So sometimes when we invoke financial trauma on our loved ones, it breaks up relationships and destroys the family. So don't traumatize your loved ones. If you borrow some money, pay the shit back. Stop that. Let me keep going. All right, Vic, I see Brooklyn Ninja Traders. Good to see you. Jermaine Trusty, good to see you too. Martell, what's good, Dr. Boyce Watkins? What do you think about Deion Sanders winning 2-0? I think Deion winning, I think that is so cool. Like, I really hope Deion keeps winning at this level. It's really impressive. I mean, they pulled off that win against TCU. I thought that was awesome. They looked really good. I watched the highlights. I was really impressed. Travis Hunter, woo, buddy, that's a great player. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do for the rest of the season because Dion has a very tough schedule. I think I could have sworn I saw 4 or 5 ranked teams on that schedule. I think USC was in top 10 and some other schools were top 20. So they're going to have if they come out of this schedule with a winning record, then hats off to Dion because that team was 1-11 last year. They were terrible. I wish Dion had stayed at Jackson State. I made that 100% clear. But the reason I was so furious about him leaving was because I do respect him so much. I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life. I've been a Deion Sanders fan my whole life, and I wish him the best. I just wish that was all sort of kept in house. Like I don't like to see our best and brightest get taken away like that. They kind of pluck. They pluck us. They do a Jackie Robinson on us. Like whenever we got something good, they come over and take it. They come over and say, "Well, we got more money. Whatever the Negroes are paying you, we can triple it because we're white and we can print money. So we're gonna, so we'll just offer you like all the money that you've ever dreamed of." And we lose another asset. And this is one of the reasons why Black communities stay poor because Colorado's probably going to make it. They're going to make at least a 50 to $100 million profit by hiring Dion this year. In fact, when they hired him, I don't know if y'all noticed, but when they hired Dion, they didn't even have the money. They asked the guy, they said, "How are you going to pay him?" And he said, "Well, I'm sure we'll get the money." They didn't even have the money. They just said, "Just come here. We'll promise you the money. And then once you get out and you start coaching and we start, sort of monetizing your brand," which I think he could have done that at Jackson State, right? Once we start monetizing you, oh, we're going to make 100 million. So we'll pay you five. We'll make 100. We'll give you five. We'll keep 95 for ourselves because they were selling out that stadium in a way that they hadn't done in 20 years. They couldn't sell that damn stadium out. They didn't just sell it out, but they jacked up the ticket prices. Because Dion brings that cool factor to the school. It's all about sports is all about marketing and merchandising and all that. It ain't about winning and losing as much as everything else. Don't get me wrong, winning and losing matter. But look at the Dallas Cowboys. How is it? Cowboys they can't hardly win shit. I mean, they're now today they did. Today, my Cowboys look great. They beat the Giants 40-0. I mean, beat the crap out of them on national TV. I hope this is real, right? Cowboys fan, my heart's been broken many times. But I kind of wish they had fired Jimmy Johnson in the '90s. But the Cowboys, even when they were at their worst, they were still making more money than all the other teams because they have a great brand. That's what it is. Anyway, let me keep going. Let me come back. All right, so let's see. My son changed his degree to finance with a concentration in IT. Is that good for the future considering things going digital? Absolutely, Kai. I think that's great. Make sure he also learns how to be an entrepreneur. Every black man should be an entrepreneur. Every black man should. Give me a yes if you understand me. Give me a yes if you agree. Every black man needs to learn how to start his own business, or the white man will kick you straight in your nuts and kick you and beat you upside the head for your whole entire life. No disrespect if you're white. If you're white, I don't hate you, but y'all know the history. Y'all know what it is. We got to be honest here. Right. So anyway, tell your sons you better learn how to start. Dr. Boyce said every black man needs to have his own business, unless you're going to spend the next 40 years pissed off and frustrated and mad and shortchanged and all that. I don't know why you think everybody else is going to be fair to you. I don't know why you think that equality is anything other than a complete myth. It doesn't happen. It's not real. All these universities and corporations are always like diversity, diversity, diversity. They don't hire black people. Me and my wife talked about it. My wife works at a university that does not have one single African American male on the entire faculty. They have plenty of black guys on the football team, though. We've got a few black guys on the basketball team. But they don't hire black people to be professors. Why? Because black men are for dribbling basketballs, throwing footballs, rapping, and telling jokes in their mind. They're not for being professors. That's what we say. We do that. They're like, we got this. We got the smart people stuff. Y'all go dribble the basketball, throw the football, bust a rap, make us laugh. Y'all are there for our entertainment. You're the court jester. You'll never be the king because you're always the clown. You're always And that's just reality. Look around. Go scroll through YouTube and look at YouTube Shorts. And I want you to count how often, every time you see a black person, I want you to tell me how many times you see that the black person is like dancing, singing, rapping, if it's an entertainer, actor, something like that, or an athlete. Those are pretty much the most prominent black people in the community. So millions of black boys try to get these, this very small number of jobs, and they end up very disappointed, very upset because everybody can't be the next Deion Sanders. Deion ran a 10.26 in the 100-meter dash. Do y'all understand how fast that is? Our state champion when I was a senior ran 10.6. Deion ran 10.26. Your son ain't gonna be the next Deion Sanders. Your son can't be LeBron. LeBron's 6'8", 240 pounds. So only about 0.1% of black boys get a chance to do this sports crap. We need the black boys doing the business thing. That's where the real money's at. That's where the real opportunity is. Anyway, let me keep going. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, my website, you go to drboycebooks.com, you get copies of my books. My latest book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's an Amazon bestseller. A lot of you seem to love it. You can also get it on Amazon or drboycebooks.com. If you go to Dr. Boyce Books, my kids will send you the book, and you can get it autographed if you want. Just search for the word autographed. You get an autographed copy. Let's see. Someone says, I think Dr. Watkins is tired. Yeah, I am a little bit tired. Crazy Boss says, I think Lil Wayne shot himself. Yeah, I think that happened. It's unfortunate. I mean, my heart goes out to it. I'm not at all making fun of that at all. I'm just saying that, there's a reason why they're like, we don't want to talk to the thinkers, we want to talk to the rappers, and so we have to kind of sneak in. And I snuck in when Joe Biden was interviewed by Charlamagne the God. Charlamagne texted me and asked me what questions do you think I should ask him, and I respect him. I'll respect him for the day I die because he took the time to do that. I respect him and I respect Ice Cube because they know what they're good at and they know what they're not good at. Both of them consulted the scholars to say, okay, I've got this big platform and've got this important message and I understand the gravity of this message. And so I'm going to go make sure I get the best information. So Charlamagne, I text him a bunch of questions. I said, ask him about this, ask him about this, ask him about this, and this will probably this is going to he's not going to be ready to answer this. And you saw what happened when Joe Biden had to face a series of intelligent questions from the black community. He thought he was going to get a Cardi B type interview because the interview with Cardi B. Cardi B ain't gonna really ask them no hard questions. Cardi B just trying to make sure they don't come lock her up or something. 'Cause remember, Cardi B went on Instagram and confessed to serious crimes, right? So Cardi B ain't gonna really do anything, right? But Charlamagne, asked some good questions. And then remember, Biden got real mad. He got really frustrated. And that's when he said, well, you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, right? And that became a thing. And that was because he was frustrated. So what happens is they blow a gasket when they run into intelligent black people. Intelligent black people make your head explode. And when intelligent black people are in the room, they don't know how to handle that. White supremacy versus intelligent black people. If that was a football game, intelligent black people will win that game 144-2 because intelligent black people are the people that know how to make a dollar out of 15 cents. You're the ones who figured out how to succeed despite all the obstacles. You're the ones who are smart enough to break away from the culture. You're the ones who are able to lead and not follow. You're the ones who are not afraid to go out and make independent, critical decisions for you and your family that are disconnected from the masses. These are the black people that they're afraid of, and that's the honest to God truth. So I just believe one day in the future, everybody's going to work for one of the kids of one of the B1 people in this world right now. The ones that are getting your kids ready right now, in 20 years, they're going to be so far advanced from where we are. It's going to be ridiculous, and they're going to be running billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies. And because you train them to think in a systematic way at an early age, they're not just going to go get some good job and be flashy. They're going to go create an organization and be able to create like thousands of jobs. That's going to really create opportunities for lots of people, and that's going to be the play. Everybody doesn't need to do it. I don't need the whole black community to understand what I'm talking about. The whole black community will never understand what I'm talking about. There's at least half of the people are going to look at me and think I'm nerdy or boring or disinteresting or whatever. And I think that's totally fine. Or they're going to come in and say something stupid and leave. Like this guy, he writes Charles Wu. I don't know why you bring that up. That it's so old or whatever. I fired that man 8 years ago. But anyway, whatever. Right? So you got your ignorant people out here. You got your crazy people. You got your slow people. You got the people that ain't never going to get it. I do not care about those people. I care about the people who are looking around and seeing the same thing I see. I care about the people who are looking around and saying, "God, we got to do better." We this ain't us. This ain't where I want to be. Right? The people that are hooting and hollering or engaging in slave culture, trying to start a fight with everybody or acting a damn fool, singing, dancing, laughing about stuff, whatever. That's not interesting to me. I don't want to be in the toxic culture. I don't want my kids growing up in that culture. So that's my 2 cents. That's what I believe. So just get ready. That's it. Stop worrying about whether white people like you or not. They don't. They don't. They probably don't. They don't care about you that much. So if you tell me, well, white people don't care about us, I'm gonna be like, yeah, they probably don't. Why would you care about them? Do you think Arabs care about Jews? Do you think Jews care about Chinese people? Like, what makes you sit around wondering if they care about you? No, they don't. They don't. But do you care about yourself? Because if you care about yourself, then you're going to show up ready. If you care about yourself, you're going to make a plan. You're going to prepare. You're going to take care of yourself. You're going to invest in the future. You're going to get your kids ready. That's what you're going to do. Period. Right. So anyway, let me keep going. Let's see here. Uh, let's see. If you owned and were running Twitter, what changes in the business would you make to it? I don't know. I don't know enough about running Twitter, television to have an opinion about that because I don't know what Twitter is capable of. I don't have a problem with Elon Musk though. I don't because I think I kind of actually like the Elon Musk a little bit more because I think the liberals have kind of lost their damn mind. I think they're trying to sexualize kids and like why the hell are you talking to a 7-year-old about sex and trying to get him to change his gender. Like, I can't. I don't understand that. I don't appreciate that at all. Um, and then hiding it from the parents too. Like that's some sinister behavior, if you ask me. I also think that the whole migrant crisis is almost hilarious because I don't know who told you that you could on your border and let anybody and everybody in without any questions and then think that's going to be okay. So I like the fact that the governors of Florida and Texas sent all those people to those sanctuary cities. They're like, okay, you're a sanctuary city, cool. Take all these people, New York, take 100,000 people, and figure out where to put them. And now, if you notice, if you've been following the Democratic governor was fighting with the Democratic mayor of New York because they're blaming each other for the migrant crisis. Chicago, we got a black mayor in Chicago. He dumped all the migrants into the black neighborhoods. Well, if you got all these liberal people that love, they love everybody. They want everybody coming to the U.S. Why would they not be in the white neighborhoods? Why are they not in the north side of Chicago? And why'd you put them in the south side and the west side? Shouldn't they be, like, do you love them? Like, bring them to your house. Let them move it. But that's the thing. A lot of people, they have these ideas and they like these ideas in theory, but they don't like them in practice. When it comes time to be accountable and actually have these people in your neighborhood and figure out where to put everybody, they don't want to participate in that. They just want to tell everybody what to do. And so I love it. I think it's a great experiment, and I thought it was brilliant for them to do that. And so I don't have no problem with it, honestly. All right, so let me keep going here. I don't want to be overly political, but it's Saturday night or Friday, Sunday night, so I'm just talking right now. This is not a purely financial conversation. So if you came for that, then maybe you can come back tomorrow. Just so you know, I'm going to do Stock Market Tuesdays. So if you want to join my stock market class for $1, you can actually do the first one for just $1. Feel free to go take a look. It's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. I'll put the URL on the screen. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. So that's on the screen. So feel free to go take a look at that. All right. So let's see here. What do you think about Barack Obama being accused of being gay? If you're from Chicago, that's ain't none of that a surprise. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna go anymore. I don't want to get into all that, but because I don't care who another man's sleeping with, to be honest with you. But that writing's been on the wall for many years. I just find it fascinating that people just don't want to believe it could possibly be true. That's what's really, but it's been out there. If you go to Chicago and you really are just open minded and seeking truth, you would find that you could start with Trinity, the church that he and Michelle went to with Jeremiah Wright, and there were some very interesting stories that came out of Trinity. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to. I don't even like talking about this, so I think it's a distraction from the discussion. But just go look it up. Go do the research. Don't even. I don't even want to get into it because I have had too many people in Chicago who get mad because we don't worship their Messiah. I don't have any issue with Obama. I lived down the street from him. I was 2 blocks from him for his whole presidency. It was fascinating. One time I saw his motorcade and I counted how many cars because they when he came into town, they would shut the whole city down for him to come to town. And like every road all the way out to the airport was shut down. And it was and our house was in Hyde Park, which is very far from the airport. So they pretty much shut down the whole city. and they would shut it down the whole day because they would never tell you when Obama was actually coming into town. They just say he was coming, so you can't use the street. And I'd have to move my car. They would literally put tickets on our cars. So I had to move my car because Obama was coming. I was like, when's he coming? They're like, we don't know. So anyway, he finally came in. Hey, baby, I see my wife is in here coaching with Dr. Alicia. Her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. I'll put a website up. I love my wife. I'm very excited about my beautiful black wife. And she's 100% black. Don't y'all be making fun of her because she's light skinned, because she's from Gary. She'll whoop your ass. Anyway, so I love you, babe. Mwah. Anyway, so there's her website if you want to go take a look at what she does. But anyway, so one day, so we were looking out the window and checking out Obama's motorcade. I kid you not, I counted the number of cars. There was 37 vehicles in his motorcade. 37 vehicles. There were like two limousines, about five SUVs, 4 or 5 motorcycles, fire trucks, ambulances, and in the SUVs, there were these men hanging out of the SUVs, out of every window, holding big machine guns or something. Like you get out of line, they're gonna pop your ass, right? Like it was real. Like that, like I'd never seen anything like that. 30, I counted, I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have the video somewhere. I can go look on my phone to find it, and I'll put it online if you want to see it. But it was like, whoa, like King Jaffe is in town. So that man, yeah, but and I like what I liked about Obama. I like him better than Trump, and I like him better than Biden because at least with Obama, you had a smart man running the country. You had a man that was, even if he was corrupt, which I think all the presidents are corrupt. To be honest with you, I think American politics is generally corrupt. I honestly do that. But at least you had a person who was going to think before he acted. He was going to process things. He knew how to communicate properly. He had a certain type of charm that made the country, look good to the world. Whereas Trump is kind of definitely rough around the edges. Trump's been an asshole for 40 years. I don't know why people suddenly get, alarmed by that. Like it's crazy that if he had run as a Democrat, they'd be telling you he's a wonderful guy. Like if he, because 30 years ago, Trump said he was going to run as a Democrat. So for him to run as a Republican, I was a little bit surprised. But literally, think about process this for a minute, right? They tell you to hate this guy and all this other stuff because he's on the other side. He's the opposition. But if he had run as a Democrat, they would be telling you that he's a good guy. They would be telling you, no, he's so much better than so and so, and that to me is I can't make myself dumb enough to do that. Like I always thought Trump was an arrogant prick. I thought that in 1991. I read his book, The Art of the Deal. I was like, he's smart, he's rich, but he's a prick. I wouldn't want to be around this person. So the idea that people's opinions kind of switch because of the politics shows me that there's a significant lack of independent thinking because a lot of the people who will tell you Trump is this terrible person and say, oh, he's this, and this. These were people that were taking pictures with this man 10 years ago. I kid you not. They were taking pictures with the rappers were all taking they were rapping like I'm the black Donald Trump, right? And so stop being a puppet, man. Like just be an independent man. Like stand by what you believe, stand by who you are. That's what I respect. Be consistent. Even if you disagree with me, if you're consistent, I respect that. But if you flip flop, then that's kind of weird to me. Okay, BRICS, America, Trump 24. What are your thoughts? I think BRICS is significant. Brooklyn Ninja. I think BRICS does matter. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They are basically trying to get away from the dollar as the, I guess, dominant global currency or the default currency for the world. They're doing a very good job of really, really creating alternative economic systems that go outside of the dollar. I don't think BRICS is going to have a huge impact on the value of the dollar anytime soon, but I'd say within the next 15, 20 years, yeah. I mean, by the year 2070, which actually, by the way, in my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, I literally laid out what I call Project 2070, where I want people to be ready for the year 2070. We'll all be dead by then, most likely, but your kids and grandkids will be here. So what I'm asking everyone to do is start implanting basic principles of economics inside your family, so you can pass that to the children, right? So my book, The Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power, lays that out also. But anyway, by the year 2070 or 2075, China will be the biggest economy on earth, and India will be number two. The United States will be like three or four, something like that. And also, so BRICS is significant. It shouldn't be ignored, but it's not going to destroy the value of your dollar tomorrow, in my my opinion. Do I think the Trump 2024? I think 2024 is going to be real interesting. There's a lot of mysteries, right? Will Joe Biden even live long enough to run? Him and Mitch McConnell, they're having some senior moments. McConnell's freezing up, having strokes on stage. Poor Biden's falling down at every turn. Trump, he ain't exactly a picture of health. He's an old fat guy, so and he might be in jail. So that it's crazy. So 2024, I have no prediction per se. I think Kamala Harris, if you listen to her, she's speaking as if she's sort of preparing for the possibility that Biden might not be able to make it through. So it could be, I don't know if I'm trying to get Kamala into office, but I think that's going to be hard to do because a lot of people don't like her. I don't dislike Kamala. I don't love her though. I don't love her, but I don't. I think that it's a little bit unfair. I see a little bit of sexism there in terms of why people just hate her, like really hate her with a vengeance. I don't hate her with a vengeance. I just don't like her, and I do think she's kind of fake. And then always wondered out loud. I was like, if you went to an HBCU and you met thousands of black men, like how'd you end up marrying Doug? Like what's going on? When none of those black men like good enough? Is that what it was? But what it is that Kamala, if you look at her history, at least the men I know that she did date, Doug and Willie Brown, the mayor of San Francisco, these tended to be men that could give her opportunities, right? So when she was with Willie Brown, she was really young. He was like an old man. He was like 50 something, 60 something. It was kind of a typical, like, older, rich, powerful man dating a young woman. And she got opportunities. He gave her promotions and whatever. Like, she got opportunities from that. Honestly, I don't see that as, like, all that sinister, honestly. It's just a fact. It's what it is, Does it make her, like, some sort of deviant whore? No. Just these things happen all the time. People date, and then people expect like, Imma tell you like this, I support my wife a lot. Like, I want my wife to succeed because, I like her. She's cute, and she loves me, and I love her, and we have each other's back. So even if I was just dating her, even when she was my girlfriend and not my wife, I wanted my wife to win. So, yeah, did Kamala benefit from the men she was with? Probably, you should be benefiting from your man. Like, you should benefit from your woman. Like, why would you be with somebody that you can't that is gonna make your life worse instead of better? You should be with people that are gonna help you level up, not level down. I don't see anything wrong with that. But I do think Kamala is, I also don't think that she's, like, as black as she kinda tries to be, like, I see her as, like, a kinda black, a Jamaican and Indian woman, that's what she really is, but, of course, it's like, let's go with that whole African American narrative because black people will believe anything, and that's what I see with that. Alright, so let's see here, why do you go so hard on Tyler Perry? He's done a lot for our people, employment, etcetera. Shad, that's a good question. Well, you know what? What happens is that people think I'm going hard on people when I'm actually just not worshiping them, right? It's more nuanced than just love or hate. I don't have a black or white opinion on anybody. The two people I admire the most are Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. And if you were to ask me to tell you all the things that I had a problem with both of those guys, the list would be pretty long. I just do that. That's what scholars do. We critique things. We don't good scholars anyway don't just sort of jump on a bandwagon and say that something's 100% good or 100% bad. We're trained to see the fine print. That's what we do. Even in academia, I've seen people write the most brilliant research papers that were amazing. I'm talking about like earth shattering, historic. And still, when they do the presentation, you would think people hated the work. You would think that it was garbage because people would be questioning everything, asking a million questions or whatever. So that's just how we operate, right? So with Tyler Perry, I like Tyler Perry more than I dislike him. Let's just start right there. I talked to Tyler one time on the phone. He called me. I don't call celebrities. They call me sometimes. Usually twice a year, celebrity will randomly call. Like I got it. Assistant said Tyler Perry's on the phone. I was like, oh, okay. Like, what does he want? And he saw me on TV and he wanted to talk to me. And he was very nice and I liked him a lot and we had a great conversation. And he was also very gracious. I reached out to him and I wanted to see his studio because I'm inspired by the great studio that he created. And so I reached out and I sent a message to his team and he wasn't available, but he took the time to reach out to his number 2 in command, and his number 2 guy took me and my goddaughter on a 2.5-hour tour of the studio, and I thought and he did not have to do that. I had a lot of respect for him for that, and I feel like Tyler is a nice guy. I didn't when Spike Lee was really attacking him, I felt like that was a little bit too much, but Spike Lee was kinda right. You know, all that Madea putting on the dress stuff, that's not exactly what black people need, right? So to some extent, Tyler is remarkable in that he gets it, right? He gets the whole black economic power thing. You know, when he talks, like I can identify quickly if somebody understands. So when I hear Tyler give a speech and he's talking about ownership and building the table and stuff like that, that's Boyce Watkins type language too. And I'm like, yes, that's good. We're on the same page. So because I have more in common with you than I don't, I'm not going to make you the target of my heavy criticism. I'm not going to sit around and talk about the things I dislike about Tyler. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend like he didn't kind of cheat a little bit, right? It's much, much harder to make $1 billion as a strong black man than it is to make $1 billion as a black man who's putting on a dress and telling jokes. That's just the reality. That's the truth. Because minstrel shows have been very popular for a very long time, and that's kind of what Medea becomes, and Meet the Browns and some of that stuff. So, and the other challenge for Tyler is that Tyler has to show that he has the ability to build other people up besides himself. I have not seen a lot of writers and directors and producers that became very popular and successful come out of Tyler Perry Studio. He kind of seems, I mean, unfortunately, it comes off very diva-ish. Like when he shows his writing room and he's the only person in his writer's room. And I was kind of like, well, you can't hire nobody. Like nobody will go in the writer's room with you. Like you have to have a movie with five female characters and you played all five. Like that's kind of you don't see a problem with that. You know, there's so many black women writers that would love to write with you, and why aren't they in the room? Like it shouldn't just be you. And so I can't. It wouldn't be authentic for me to just say, "Oh, I love Tyler," that's it, or to say, "I hate that guy," and that's it. No, I'll just say, "Here's what I think. Here's what I see." But do I think that the bad outweighs the good? No, I don't. I think the good outweighs the bad. I'm very happy with Tyler, and I like what he's trying to do, and I love being partnered with TD Jakes, and I think that these are guys that definitely get it. You know, they're more mainstream than I'll ever be, and I don't want to be that mainstream, but they get it. They really get it. All right, so let me, at least when it comes to economics, they get it. Your wife is albino. Okay, all right, buddy. You talking about my wife? Man. You talking about my wife? I'm gonna have to put you up out of here. My wife is not albino. She's very light skinned, but there are light skinned black people. Some of these light skinned people are blacker than some of y'all dark Negroes actually cooning for a living. So you better quit. C Dub says my microphone's breaking up. Uh oh. Can y'all hear me? Give me a yes if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure I am coming through all right. Chairman of the board says, Dr. Woods, question. I watched 20 minutes of a webinar link from Telegram. Is there a link via Telegram to get the full 2 hours link from Saturday? Um, I don't know what was it that you were watching? Tell me what you were watching, and I can try to see if I can get it for you again. I don't know what you were watching. I'm sorry. I share a lot of stuff, so I don't know what. How do I sign up for Dr. Boyd's stock options course? If you go to boycewatkins.com, one way you can get into our Prime program where we talk about the buying and selling of options every week is you can go to boycewatkins.com, look at the training called How to Make Money Without Working, or you can text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. Oh, Julian was teaching. I think that's yeah. Go to boycewatkins.com. That will probably be where Julian Gordon is talking about. Julian Gordon is the dean of real estate in the Black Business School. He's also the founder of the Freedom School. And so, if you go to boycewatkins.com, there's a training that Julian does about his Freedom Family movement and what he's doing with that. So you can go take a look at that. It's all at my website, boycewatkins.com. Yeah, I worked a lot with Julian. I worked a lot with well, I'm friends with Jay Morrison. I don't do a lot of business with him. I donated to the Tulsa Fund. Well, I made an investment, and the state of that investment is still up to question. Nobody knows how that's going to end up. I know that that's a lot of controversy there. But Julian also, I've worked with Julian a lot too. So, I worked with a lot of people. Let's see. I think you're a truly smart individual. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a very nice statement. Are the trainings live? Well, I do live trainings every week, but we also have a ton of recordings. So you can go back if you do the live and you love it and you want to keep going. I literally record everything that I do. So feel free to just go to my website. You can take a look at what's there. Boycewatkins.com is where I live. Let's see. Are your books available on hardcover? Not yet, Derek. Probably should do that, but I have not done that yet. Right now, we are making an audible version of my book, though. In fact, I meet with my manager tomorrow. I'm going to talk to you about the state of the book. My friend is moving to Tulsa in December for rebuilding Tulsa. Yeah, yeah, Tulsa. There's a lot happening in the city of Tulsa. My brother works for a fund that's they're investing hundreds of millions of dollars into things that are happening in Tulsa, and so there's a lot of good stuff there. Max says, "Stop clicking the pen." Okay, I'll stop clicking the pen. You like this? Is that getting on your nerves? Is that bothering you? Is that setting off your OCD? I'm messing with you. All right, I'll stop clicking. I'll put it down. I promise. Also, are people that sell courses scammers mostly? I don't know. I've been a college professor for a long time, and the reason I started doing stuff online is because I figured that the stuff I was teaching in Syracuse, where people were paying $72,000 a year, could be done at a much lower cost. We have to charge a fee for some things. We can't give everything away for free. But if you ever get the impression that you have to pay money to join the Black Business School, that's simply not true. We have thousands of students that, if they're tight, it's fine. We got stuff for you. We have so many free. But the thing about running a business and being an independent Black-owned institution is you can't do everything for free unless you are going to either depend on the government or let corporate America fund you. I refuse to let corporate America fund us because then they're going to control what we're allowed to teach. They're going to control what we're allowed to say. I do not do that. This is not going to be black liberation brought to you by McDonald's. That does not work. Also, I can't let the government fund this because the government also does the same thing. So, in order for this to be independent, in order for us to build an independent Black-owned institution, I got together with a great team. I have a wonderful team. It costs thousands of dollars a month to pay this team. Tens of thousands of dollars every month we put right into the people we hire so they can feed their family, and they're all devoted, dedicated. Most of the people on my team have worked for me for 5 or 6 years, so we're good. Like we treat our people very well. And it's proven by the fact that most of my team members have been here for years. It's not like we have turnover, heavy turnover. Now, what does happen in business that makes it difficult is that sometimes you run into people that are just ratchet. Sometimes you run into people that are just horrible people to work with that mess up the organization. So you have to get rid of those people. Well, in the age of the internet, what happens is that somebody gets fired and then they go on the internet and say, "Oh, I'm going to talk crazy about you forever." And now you can't go out and necessarily always respond. You can't say, "Well, this person got fired because they violated their contract." You can't say, "We got rid of this person because she's crazy and she screams and hollers and was beating people up." Or we can't you can't say, "I got rid of this person because they were trying to steal money." You just have to keep on going, right? But the internet is kind of a messy, difficult place to do this kind of business. And so all you do is you just press forward, right? So, but with the Black Business School, the best thing about the school that I love is that the number one thing that we put our energy into and most of our money into was customer service. From the very beginning, we told our team, we got to make sure that every single customer that comes through here is happy. And if they're not happy, then we find out why they're not happy and we do everything in our power to make it right. We have a whole team that is committed to customer excellence, customer success, customer happiness. So that means if you're not happy with something, and it's the first 30 days you can get a refund. We give you a refund back. But then we also give you more than the refund. We give you free stuff to say, okay, well, why don't you try this? This won't cost you anything. So we do all these things to basically try to say, look, we're just trying to help. We're just trying to help. No business is perfect. But when I see somebody who comes in and says, I had this problem and nobody got back to me and blah, 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 I immediately screenshot it. I send it to my team and I say, "Well, why didn't we get back to this person? What happened?" And most of the time, it's because they emailed the wrong address and they're mad at us because they emailed the wrong address. It's like we didn't know you were even trying to reach out. Okay. So anyway, if you want to go give it a try, the website I'll put the URL on the screen is theblackbusinessschool.com. We have one class that's free that's very popular. Is every Wednesday we do Powernomics training. Dr. Paul Anderson is the originator. He's the godfather. Every week we read from Dr. Anderson's books. I read them out loud. I've been doing this course for probably about 4 years now, and it's totally free. And people bring their whole families. We don't charge them anything for this, and it introduces you to all of his work. We've gone through Powernomics. We're going all the way through Black Labor, White Wealth. We're going through his other book called The Black History Reader. And by the way, his website is powernomics.com. And we're very super proud of the fact that we have helped him. We've given him probably at least $500,000 over the years. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars to help fund what he's doing. And that was important because if you are going to have a movement or progress or develop infrastructure, you have to have money. You cannot do it without the economics. You have to have the economics. You know, and so what Dr. Anderson, his problem he was having was people were calling him saying, "I love Powernomics. I love what you're doing, man." These would be wealthy celebrities on the covers of magazines talking about they're a billionaire, and they wouldn't write a check. You know, and I'm like, well, if you love it, you're supposed to. Like white people write checks. Jewish people write checks to the synagogue. They write big checks to fund the organizations that they believe in. Black people, we're trained on a charity model. We're trained to we truly believe, and I want you to think about how crazy this is. We're truly trained to believe that white people are going to fund the organizations that are going to liberate us. Process this. What in the world would make you think that they're gonna write a check that's gonna make you independent of the person who wrote the damn check in the first place? What makes you think that they're like, "Yeah, we wanna fund your liberation. We wanna help you become completely independent of us so that we can't make money off you anymore, and you're gonna actually benefit yourself more than you benefit us." That doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. So if you're not ready to pay the bills, then don't try to be free. You can't be free if you ain't paying the bills. Just ask any teenager who lives with his mama. He can't be up here talking about, "I'm a man," whatever, and you live with your mama. No, you gotta get your own place, and then you can call yourself a man, little boy. Anyway, let me get back to it. Sorry. If they have an accountant, CPA, they can find a way to write it off. Yeah, yeah, they could. They really could. And this is the thing I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's Sunday night and I just share what's on my mind. Um, I did a post on Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Boyce Watkins, the number one. I'll put it on the screen so you can follow me on Twitter if you want to join the conversation. I did something that I called the bearded baby. And the bearded baby, and I had a little picture of a baby with a beard. And the bearded baby is just millions of black men, not all black men, but millions of black men who are over the age of 30, who've never been trained to take responsibility for anything. The bearded baby, a lot of y'all know bearded babies like this. You know black men who are over 30 years old, ain't doing nothing for nobody, don't want to take responsibility for anything. I'll show you the picture. This is the picture I put up. You guys can see it. If you go to drboycetv.com, you'll see the image. But the bearded baby is somebody that let me see what I wrote here. Let me pull it up here a second. The bearded baby is a man over the age of 30 who's not been trained to take accountability, who has multiple kids with multiple women and isn't taking care of them. That's your liability to the community. I'm sorry, brother. I love you, but if you're not taking care, not even trying to take care of your kids, that's a problem. You're disrespecting black women. They disrespect black women every chance they get. They're not seeking to grow intellectually on any level. They like being ignorant. They blame all their problems on other people, even as they steadily create their own problems. They're leeching off family members and bringing nothing to the table, disappointing their kids at every turn. And I said, to be honest, it's not their fault. The bearded baby was taught to remain a child by a society that glorifies ignorant rappers and doesn't educate black children. So our kids don't get educated, they don't get raised properly. We look up to these dumbass rappers whose lives are falling apart, and then men want to imitate that. So many of these pseudo men also never had adequate male role models growing up. So we're taught feminine unaccountability by being coddled by their overprotective mothers. So mothers feel bad and they love their babies so much that your baby's like 35 years old and getting women pregnant, but he's still your baby in your head and you excuse all of his debaucherous behavior. If you're in this category, it's time to grow up. Racist liberals and conservatives will encourage your victim mentality, but I will not. If you're not in this category, stand up and be an example of true and serious masculinity. We need more men like you. If you're a woman who loves her kids, don't choose this man to be the father of your children. He will create a trail of tears that will keep you up at night. This is a serious issue in our community. It's one of the reasons our families continue to fail, and it's time we start having serious discussions about it. We need to build strong and accountable men in our community. That's the only way we can fight against racism. And that's what I wrote. That's what I shared on Twitter. And a lot of you seem to understand that because I know a lot of people were responding. Good night, baby. I'll see you. My wife just told me she's going to bed. But yeah, I just think it's not always their fault. I mean, it's just manhood requires training. Like you have to learn that, and I don't think we value that. I don't think men or women value Sometimes I'll have friendly debates with people. They'll pull out studies. They'll say, black fathers are more involved with their kids than white fathers, and I don't doubt that, right? I know a lot of great fathers that are really doing their thing, but if you're not in the house with the kids, it's really hard to train them at a certain level. It's hard to train a black boy at the level that black girls get trained because one advantage black girls have that people don't talk about is black girls always have their role model, their coach, right there on them. I mean, think about a black girl who lives with her mama. She's constantly getting constant feedback. Pull your skirt down. Don't wear that outfit. Do your homework. Wash the dishes. Girl, you better get up. You better get in there in this kitchen. Like she's constantly getting coaching, constant training, constant feedback. Whereas, that son she has, he's getting stuff from his mama, but that gets on his nerves, right? Eventually, you don't want to hear your mama's voice. It sounds like it's like nails on chalkboard. But he sees his daddy once every 2 weeks, and we think that's okay. We're like, oh, but his daddy's involved. He saw his daddy last Tuesday. Well, imagine let's switch the gender real quick. I hope y'all can go with me on this. Give me a guess if you understand. Switch the gender. What if black girls only saw their mama once a week, and the rest of the week they were, you know, taught by whatever their father did. Like their father, like, well, this is how you do your hair. This is how you put on a tampon. This is what ladies are supposed to. Right? What do you think that these girls would be the same? Do you think that black women will really be on point like they are? Think about this. Very few people are on point more than a black woman is. Not every black woman. You got some that still struggle, right? But generally speaking, black women, from a professional and educational standpoint, are as on point as anybody on this earth. like y'all are so serious. Y'all got the degrees, you have the work ethic, the consistency, the reliability, all that stuff just pops up. Again, excluding a few exceptions, but generally speaking, you've got, like these women just showing up like an army of these amazing people. They're running the businesses and they're rising up the corporate ladder just on top of stuff. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that comes from? It comes from the fact that they had constant coaching from that strong black mother that was constantly giving them consistent feedback on what it means to be a woman. Now, there's some gaps there in my view. This is my 2 cents. There's gaps. The gap might be that the father's not there, so they maybe haven't learned how to really nurture and deal with a real man. So they run into a real man. They have these relationship issues because they've never really known what it's like to have a man in the house and having to compromise and deal with the fact that men, we don't fit your fairy tale. We're not whatever fairy tale somebody gave you. We don't fit that. And then also maybe if your mother is hurt or jaded or scarred in some way, she's warned you constantly. Don't let them do this. Don't let them do that. Don't you ever settle. And don't let them. So what happens is that when you run into us as men and we're not perfect, then you run away the minute we show you something that bothers you, right? So rather than accepting, they say that love is two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other, right? That means you keep messing up, I keep messing up, but we still gonna love each other through it all. Well, if you expect me to be perfect, and in the first date I'm like 5 minutes late, and then you're like, oh, that's a red flag, or so this lady told me she went on a date with a guy. She's like, yeah, we had a good time, but I didn't like his outfit. Or he didn't open the door for me. It was like something really small. Where it's like, well, can't you work through that? Can't you figure that out? No, it's like the minute she saw any little red flag, she was out, she was gone, right? So the relationship stuff, there's problems, but in terms of like being on point and success and all that, it's at a very high level, and I think that that's because black women get the advantage of having their mothers. Every black child has their mother in the house. Most of them do. Sorry, overwhelming majority. Most of them do not have the father, and I think that shows itself with when you talk about like ask any black woman over 35 who's tried to date what her dating experience is like if she's looking for a serious relationship. What's that like? It's terrible, right? It's terrible. Well, the reason it's terrible is because you're meeting a lot of bearded babies. You're meeting a lot of men who never were really in a situation where they were taught that there was value in taking responsibility for things or accountability for things. This is the thing I learned from my father. My brother and I are both married. My brother and I are both married, and we're both wealthy, right? So we're two wealthy men who could, have 10 girlfriends and be just living our best life. But instead, we chose to take a wife and raise children, even though we don't have to. Well, that came from our father because our father gave us a model that says Masculinity is when you're taking accountability for something in someone other than yourself, right? Masculinity wasn't just, wearing having a beard or, smoking cigars or drinking liquor or acting like the rappers. That ain't masculinity, that's just flashy bullshit. That's those a lot of those guys, and I know them, I know a lot of these rapper types, a lot of them are just basically fast talking Negroes that make promises that they're never going to keep. And if you look into the community, you see not that every man does this. I'm not saying every man does this, but there's a lot of men who will make it. Tell me if I'm wrong. Let me know if you've seen this. Men who would just talk, 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 yap, 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 make a million promises, never follow through with nothing. Baby, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna show up for this, I'm gonna show up for that, and don't are not able to really follow through because that's the hard part. That's the part that's not flashy. And also, it's sort of a joint accountability thing because women end up looking up to men like this because you look up to the people that white people put on TV. White people put these irresponsible men on television and say, "These are the most popular men. Look at this rapper. He's on the cover of Forbes because he made $1 billion calling himself the N-word and talking about and rapping about killing black people." So these are men that you look up to. So when you see that regular guy who's silent, but he's sturdy, solid, he takes care of his kids, he works hard, he wants to do what's best for his family, and he ain't gonna talk about it. He's gonna do it. He ain't gonna say he's about it. He's gonna be about it. That guy ends up being boring. He's not interesting, right? Guys like that get passed up. I know this. I was one of those guys. I spent my fair share of time getting passed up by flashier, fast talking Negroes. The Russell Wilsons get made fun of. But Russell Wilson, let's be clear. Russell Wilson is one of the most solid black men you're gonna find. The fact that he's getting all that negative pushback because he's taking care of his kids and he's loving his wife. Do you understand how sickeningly dysfunctional that is? Does anybody see that, or am I the only one? And anybody who uses that word simp, like somebody says, "Why were you simping when it comes to your wife?" See, that's that bearded baby talk. The bearded babies, the babies with beards, that's what they do. They say, "If you love your wife, if you care about your family, if you're showing up for the people you love, then that makes you a simp." And I'm just gonna tell you, um, the bearded babies, those are the biggest simps in your community, but you got it backwards. You got it flipped. Because think about it, a bearded baby ain't never built nothing in his life. He ain't never protected nothing. He can't even protect his own damn neighborhood. He can't come through for nobody. His mama's sitting there, need the grass cut. Mama needs help paying the bills. He ain't doing that. He's downstairs in the basement, in his drawers, playing his Xbox, smoking weed, waiting for calling his hoes, and just living his best life. And the whole community is falling apart around him. And then white men show up and say, "Your men are garbage. Your men are weak. Your men are a bunch of babies with beards. So we're taking over. I'm going to be your white knight in shining armor, and I'm going to be the man who actually is going to love you, who's going to take care of your kids, who's really going to be the solid human being that you need in your life that's really going to have your back." So I'm just telling you, I think that generally speaking, women got to be careful about raising bearded babies. That's just basically a grown man who don't take accountability for nothing because you're poisoning the future of some other woman. You're poisoning her life. You're poisoning her reality. You're taking your trash and dumping it on her doorstep because he gonna go through life looking for somebody to replace his mama. So you cannot do that. If you're dating, I think you should identify the bearded babies. I think you should take time to get to know a man and see, figure out who his male role models were. Like, what men is he learning from? If he's learning from if he's like, I really look up to Lil Wayne, or I want to be just like, I don't know, Ja Rule or something stupid like that, or Drake. Like that's not really typically a solid man. Not to say he can't be a fan of that, but actions definitely speak louder than words. And the most solid men I know, and the men that I would go to war with or build anything with, are the men who don't do a whole lot of talking. They do a lot of doing. They get things done. Any man that just promises stuff and doesn't deliver, that's not a person that's I mean, what are you gonna build with that? You can't build anything with that. I was talking to a lady about that earlier. She had a business partner, and I'm in LA, and there's a lot of talented actors and actresses. She was a producer, and she talked about an old business partner she had, and he was a bearded baby. He was in his 30s. He was a good looking man, very charismatic, but he was putting his penis in anything that moved. He had 7 kids with 5 women, wasn't taking care of none of those kids, and was getting girls pregnant and taking them down to the abortion clinic. Uh, there was no money in the company. He wouldn't show up on time for anything, but yet when the money did come in, when she was getting stuff done and going out and making money, he wanted to get half of the money, and really and I said to her, I said, "Yeah, that's the problem." I said, "You were trying to build something with a man who can't build anything, but it's not his fault because that's what the culture when they talk about the culture and it's coming out of hip hop, that's what the culture teaches. The culture teaches that a lot of these men falsely that you can get more positive attention from people, you can get more women, perhaps even more success by just talking fast and being flashy. Like anybody know that? And I think it's connected. It's really connected. Like the rapper culture is connected to the pimp culture, which is connected to the pimp and the pulpit culture. Like we talk about pastors that just will just talk a good game and not follow through, and then you have pimps that'll just talk circles around you and try to get you to do stuff for them and give them money. And then that's connected to the rappers, right? Because the thing is that guys who are humble, who just show up and work hard every day and are consistent, they sort of get made fun of. They kind of maybe get called simps or whatever. Whereas it's the fast, flashy, fast talking, like, Nico ain't gonna do nothing for nobody, ain't never gonna follow through on nothing, ain't never gonna write a check to commit to anything that he says he's gonna do. But yet, he just looks good doing it though. He's lying to you, he's making stuff up, he's making promises he never plans to keep, including taking care of your kids. But he's gonna get all of the sex from women. He's going to get all the attention from media. He's going to get all the glory from other men who unfortunately falsely don't really know what a man looks like, right? Like maybe if you didn't have a father, you don't know what a real man looks like. So you see a guy driving a fancy car, talking fast, wearing, with a little bit of money in his pocket, and you think that's a man, and that's just not manhood, And so I think that the beard don't quite do that, and that's what you see all over the internet. Let's see. Anybody have any more questions? Let me see here. Uh, let's see. Claude says, "How's your bio daughter Patrice doing?" She's doing fine. Thank you for asking. Let's see here. I took my girls to Iceland. Not long ago. We went to Iceland and Denmark. We had a really good time. They target women, Dr. Boyce. Yeah, they do. Um, but you know, you can't pay attention to that. Malcolm told you the black woman is the most hated woman on the planet, and unfortunately, that's just true. But you just have to speak out against that. You have to just let people know that's not appropriate. Some people are going to listen, some people won't. C Dub says, Apple has their annual keynote address this Thursday morning for the new product launch at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh, I can't wait to see. That's going to be really good. Have you ever seen Jason Black in person? Yes, I have. I saw him one time. Let's see. I see you got trolls. Yeah, yeah, we got trolls. Trolls gonna be around as long as they're relatively quiet. If you get too disruptive as a troll, I have to get rid of you. But remember, trolls are fans too. So it's okay. Can I have your business email, Dr. Woods? I have a serious question to ask. Yeah, I'll put it in here in the chat. Just know if it's a question though, you got to make it quick because my manager gets a lot of emails each day. Like it's manager at Boyce.com. So if you have a serious question, or you want to speak somewhere, something like that, you can email that address. Actually, for speaking stuff, Chanel at Boyce.com. So let me put Chanel's email address on the screen so you guys can see it. That's Chanel, one in Chanel's. Why does Osei Juice Jackson have an issue with you? I think he lives in Africa, and I think he's a comedian or something. I think he just enjoys kind of trolling. And also apparently videos about me get a lot of views. So a lot of YouTubers need money, I guess. So if you put, I guess I didn't know that putting me on a thumbnail in a title would get 70, 80,000 views. I was actually kind of flattered by it. But yeah, so he's gonna probably keep doing videos about me as long as it's profitable, and that's just the business. That's the nature of the beast. That's the business that I guess that we're in. And so if you see anybody say anything weird about me, just come ask me. I'm an open book. That's why I actually do the Dr. Books Exposed sessions on the weekend. So the people that really want to know if a rumor is true, you can just ask me. But I learned the hard way that when you become more public, rumors are going to happen. People are going to say things that are not true. Like like, that I made money so promoting the Tulsa Fund to Black people. That is simply not true. I've never been a paid sponsor. I was an investor. I support that business like I supported many others. I supported Joe Gordon just as much as I supported Jay, probably more than I supported Jay, because I supported Jay's event, but I did not come on my channel and say everybody go invest in the Tulsa Fund because I specifically tell you guys million over and over I do not give investing advice. But there are people who run with the narrative, and I know what it is. They have a personal issue. A lot of them, like for example, Yvette Carnell, she's been talking about Jay for years, right? So she, a person like that isn't really trying to do the right thing. They're just trying to create chaos or whatever. But literally, I have no shame in supporting black-owned businesses. I told you, 86% of black-owned businesses fail. And I do not give investing advice. I tell you all to make sure you make your own decisions. And sometimes investments go wrong. But the thing about the Tulsa Fund is that it's not dead yet, right? Like I think that there's a difference between people having concerns about the financial statements versus the fund officially being dead. And when I talk to both sides, when I talk to Jay, I talk to Julian to hear his perspective. Then I talk to Jay. It looks like they're trying to create some new projects. And I've been to the Black House. It's a real building. They're doing real stuff there. But there is that bigger question of like what happened to some of the money. So when more people start asking about it, I say, well, let me look at the financial statement. Let me just see what's going on. And I looked at it, and there is a lot of spending that's happening there. So I think there is a lot that needs to be discussed. But that's not my business. And that's the part that I think was like a little bit challenging was to say like I'm not this babysitter, so I don't understand why so many people are asking me to police somebody else's business. I don't ask anybody else. Like I don't ask O'Shea James to police JT, the pocket watcher, right? So that's kind of weird to me. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. All right. Next question. I subscribe to the Viral Hip Hop News Channel. Yeah, those are good guys. Those are really good guys. I like those brothers a lot. They did a really fair analysis of what was happening, and they kind of talked about some of the stuff that's been going on. And I work with those guys. I like them. They're good people. Let's see. Dr. Bob says, is the situation getting better or worse for black men? We'll put Dr. Bob on the screen. Everybody needs to follow Dr. Bob. He's a good brother. Um, I think it's both. It's really both. You have multiple cultures happening at the same time. You have a lot of black men that are doing things we've never done before that are just rising to a level that's extraordinary. If you look at just even I know InvestFest is not perfect, but if you look at InvestFest and the idea that 20,000 black people get together to talk about financial literacy and wealth and all that, that's beautiful to me. And they're not the same as me. They're a little more in the hip hop culture and all that. Some of the people they might bring to the stage are people that I might not bring to the stage, but that's okay. We don't have to be all the same. It's like a Tyler Perry thing where I just say, well, does the good outweigh the bad? I would not go and pick a fight with them because I know the Wall Street Trapper and stuff like that. And those guys have always been respectful to me, so I feel like there's a lot to celebrate there. Now, the downside though is that unfortunately there's a lot of forces not that are very anti-black. A lot of anti-black racism, economically speaking, structurally, media. I think there's so many things. Think about this. You see your kids coming out of school and they can't read, they can't write, they can't do math. What kind of future do you think they're going to have? So, why would you keep letting these systems destroy your children? So that's the big problem right there. All right, so let me keep going here. Oh, you meant Tuesday morning. Okay, thanks, T Dub. I appreciate that. What's up with you and Anton Daniels beef? I don't have a beef with Anton Daniels, but he's got I guess he looks a little like Rick Ross. Again, it's apparently I am more popular than I thought I would. I didn't think I was that important and that interesting, but apparently when people do videos about me, they get like 80,000 views. So I'm like, well, okay, I guess I'm gonna be the black man you love to hate because I ain't gonna change. I'm gonna keep on being me. So I'll give you plenty of stuff to talk about on your YouTube channel. All right, let's see. Bishop Woodward says, Amber, I would, but Boyce is the only one who can answer this question. Uh, what was your question, Bishop Woodward? I did not see your question. Oh, can I have your bishop email? Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. Let's see here. Do next question. Dr. Boyce, can you explain ECOWAS Niger? I don't know what that is. Sorry, I'll look it up. Though. You're right. I'm not familiar with that. I apologize. Let's see. Next question. Did you see Kamala through a hip hop festival at her DC residence? Yeah, I was talking about that. Yeah, I think it's so fascinating that Lil Wayne has more access to the vice president than leading thinkers and scholars in the black community. I think that's intentional. They want you to be controlled opposition. They want you to talk about racism, but only when they allow you to, and in the way they want you to talk about it. So the people that are creating the problem are literally telling you how to solve the problem. So the racism is that the racists are the ones telling you how to fight racism. So you really are the controlled opposition. So you got to be really careful about that. And that's just they're trying to line you up and get you to make sure you vote for the right candidate, stuff like that. That's what they do. That's politics. Let's see here. Why do you have that title? I don't know what title. I'm sorry. Are you asking me, Amber? Let's see. Could you touch on how your life changed after you reached your first $1 million? Great question, Claude. How did my life change when I reached my first $1 million? Well, I learned. I didn't have $1 million when I figured out that money wasn't that important to me. I think that reaching the first million does a lot in terms of confidence because you're like, "Oh, I did it. I was able to do that," right? But then really, I see money as a tool, as a vehicle to, um, to achieve the goal that we have. Like, I really would love to have $1 billion because I would really like to build, like, a school system and stuff like that, or, like a system of schools all around the country, around the world that Black people can use to educate each other, and educate our own kids. So, yeah, I think that's by that time, money really wasn't that important to me. Um, but I had to have some money to know that it wasn't that important. Because when you don't have money, you feel like it's the most important thing in the world. So it's like going to the bathroom. When you gotta pee really bad, bathrooms are the most important thing ever. But then after you pee, you wanna hang out in the bathroom. You wanna go do something else. So I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess it was just like, wow, we did it. Okay. And then at that point, it was like, well, what do we do with this money to allow us to move closer to the purpose? I know my purpose very clearly. My purpose is to change the economic culture of the Black community and change it permanently. We've already achieved a big chunk of that. Like we've already we got the rappers rapping about it. A lot of these people that are doing stuff that they're doing, the good ones, a lot of them got game from us. All of them know who I am. All of them know. They may not even like me, or they may not work with me, but they know me. They know me. They saw me doing this back in 2010, 2009 when nobody else was doing it, and that's exactly what I wanted. And so it's gonna keep going. I think it's gonna get better though. I think over the next 20 years it's gonna be more amazing. But yeah, so that first million we just reinvested it. We all the millions that we made, most of that money has gone right back into hiring people and trying to grow and trying to reach more people, trying to educate more people. Like that's what we do. 'Cause life is short. You gotta go hard. You gotta go hard. Let's see. Somebody said your wife is 10 minutes ago. You need a break. No, she didn't. I talked to my wife right before I went live, and then she came into the live for a minute. Let's see here. Please talk about BBEs. BBEs? You gotta explain that. I don't know. Um, I don't. Let's see. Bricks. What do I think about bricks? Bricks. I talked about that a little bit earlier. I think bricks is going to have um, an impact on the dollar, but it's not going to be immediate. It's gonna take a while, but BRICS is significant. I think it's gonna have, an impact on the shape of the global economy, but it's a natural outpour because the United States should not have the power that it has right now. The United States has actually imposed sanctions. They've used the control of the dollar to impose sanctions on one-third of the countries on the planet. That's insane. So people are sick of the US, and I don't blame them one bit. But BRICS will get real if the US and China ever run into a military conflict because a lot of the countries that are in BRICS do not want to go to war with the United States. They do not want that smoke. So that's the internal conflict within BRICS because China is gangster. China's like, we'll fight them. But in Russia's like, yeah, we'll fight them too. But Brazil's like, no, we don't want to fight the United States. India's like, no, we don't want none of that. And so if it ever got to where it was a military conflict, then it would be an issue. Let's see here. Dr. Vibe, you do a lot of traveling. What do blacks have in common at this time? Um, what do we have in common? I think economics. I think we have that in common. I think talking about economics now is not special like it was. Like 12 years ago, it was kind of a big deal to talk about economics on a significant level. Now it's like everybody just assumes that building wealth is a good thing. And so, this is the result of years of hard work from a lot of good people. So let's see here. Next question is, yeah, he was a pardon from jail. Why would he I don't know who was pardoned from jail. Let's see. Lil Wayne was pardoned by Donald Trump. Oh, was he? Oh, okay. That's I'm not gonna talk about Lil Wayne. Stop the self-hate, doc. You see what Deion Sanders is doing. He's unapologetic. Be unapologetically self-hate. I like Deion Sanders. I really do. I just wanted him to stay at an HBCU because I feel like he's such a great asset. I said it because I love Deion. I didn't say it because I hate him. I think you can tell somebody like, "Hey, we'd love to have you here." Like that doesn't mean you're saying I hate you and I don't want to see you succeed. I'm a big football fan. I'm a big Deion Sanders fan. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was 5. So yeah, I'm watching Colorado too. I think it's great. I think Colorado is going to make hundreds of millions of dollars from the presence of Deion Sanders. I would have liked to see that money stay with Black businesses because I honestly get tired of seeing white people make all the money from our best talent. They leave the crappy coaches behind and they're like, no, we only want, or they go to the Negro leagues. They're like, we want Jackie, but we don't want nobody else. But then all the businesses tumble because you literally took the cash cow. You took the biggest brand. These brands, sports doesn't make money from winning. Winning's part of it, but winning is not what does it. It's the branding. Dion has a powerful brand. His brand is much bigger than Nick Saban or whatever. So I bet you if Nick Saban left Alabama, don't you think for a second Alabama would be like, how do we get Coach Prime to come to Alabama? They ain't just thinking about the quality of his coaching. They're thinking he's got a brand. We could make $100 million from this dude and attract the best players because everybody wants to play for him. Then you got the portal, the players can move around. That's how Colorado got so good so fast. So yeah, I think Prime. If I was them, I'd want Prime too. But so I was just recruiting. I was recruiting. They where Colorado was recruiting to come play at the white school or coach at the white school. I was recruiting him to come play coach at the black school because we love Prime and we respect what he does. So disagreeing does not mean that I have to hate this man. So we gotta get past that. Let's have healthy debates. It ain't gotta be Boyce against Dion. Boyce don't like Dion. He wants Dion to fail. I don't want that man to fail. When I watch Colorado, I will be cheering for him. I will be cheering for Shador. I will be cheering for Travis. I will be cheering for all those guys. Because I ain't got time to be sitting around hating. I ain't trying to compete and run for player hater of the year. This is not a Dave Chappelle skit. So get that player haterology out of your brain because that's not what I'm trying to do. I want him to win. Are we clear? Do we understand each other? I'm done. What's up, Juice Up, Reese? How you doing, girl? Good to see you. What's up, Reese? You should know follow her, by the way. She's got a really great business and she's a really wonderful human being. Very nice spirit. Let's see here. I'm sorry, Chairman of the Board. I know my mic is going in and out. I don't know why. I hope y'all can hear me okay. Is it all the time or just sometimes? I don't know. I apologize. See you later, Amber. Take care. Have a good night. Um, let's see. C Dubs says absolutely. I live on the 4 of them all day while I drive, when I'm home, when I wake up. Oh, it looks like y'all have a oh, and Vicky Dilla, yeah, Vicky Dr. Claude, yeah, love all those. What are some good things that blacks can learn from capitalists? Dr. Bob? I think that I'm not a capitalist. I'm not a pure capitalist because capitalism can be very greedy and capitalism ultimately leads to slavery. But I am a big fan of free enterprise. Free enterprise means that you understand that you need your businesses, you need your business owners in your community. You can't just burn down every business because you hate capitalism. Because if you don't let your own people own businesses and give them room to operate, then guess what? White people build all the businesses. So that's why I think that we have to be really thoughtful about how we develop business ownership in the community. I don't think the culture is necessarily good for conducive for growing healthy businesses, honestly. Anyway, what do you think about Puffy not owning any stake in Ciroc and they won't let him have his own liquor? I don't understand, Pride, this idea that you're a billionaire and you're waiting for somebody to let you do anything. I'm gonna tell you right now, um, if I ever announce that I made my first $1 billion, I'm not gonna be asking for permission to do shit. I don't need any. I don't even have $1 billion, and I still ain't gotta ask for permission. If I wanted to have a Dr. Boyce vodka, which I would never produce because alcohol is a terrible drug, honestly. It's the worst drug in society. Studies have shown this. We just think it's okay because everybody does it. Um, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna ask nobody's permission. What's all this asking for permission? They won't let him in. Man, come on. How much money does a black man have to have before you stop asking for permission? How about this? How about we just agree? Imma give you permission right now to stop asking for permission. I'm not asking for permission for nothing. I didn't ask for permission to do this podcast. I just did it. So Diddy, he's alright. I don't dislike Diddy. I like him a lot. I do. I think he's trying. But I don't understand any of his battle with this vodka company. I just don't. I'm like, "Oh, you're complaining, they're racist, they're mean to me on my job." You're a billionaire, dude. Like, aren't you supposed to be making power moves at this point? Or are we still, like, whining about what white people won't let us do? 'Cause they ain't whining about what they ain't whining about you. They're not saying, "Well, we would like to start a vodka brand, but Diddy won't let us." They you've never heard a powerful white man say, "Well, I would do it, but the black community won't let me." Say, "Come on, man. Stop subordinating yourself." You're aiming for real equality. Equality means you don't ask for permission. The Dallas Cowboys did not ask for permission to beat the brakes off the New York Giants. They just came in there and did it. Nobody in the Giants organization signed a document giving the Cowboys permission to beat them 40 to nothing. That did not occur. They just did it. So own your power, black man. Black woman, own your power. You don't need nobody's permission. Seriously. Well, I'm done. Dr. Vibe, if you ever come to Toronto, I'd like to introduce you to a black man who has owned 200 acres of farmland since 1977. Alright, perfect. Yeah, well, we gotta make that work. I haven't been to Canada in a while. I'd love to come out there. Um, let's see. Claude says, "How can we reprimand black faces in high places who sabotage and are blatantly disingenuous about helping the black community? How do we reprimand black faces in high places who sabotage and are blatantly disingenuous about helping the black community?" Um well, I mean, I guess if you point things out, that can work. I'd personally I personally tend to I enjoy speaking more about at least as much about the things that I'm in favor of than speaking about the things that I'm against. Unless you are just directly blocking something important that feel like needs to happen, I'm really not going to obsess over how much I hate another black person. I'm not gonna do it. I might say real quick, like, "Okay, these are my issues." Like Diddy, like, I don't really I don't completely align with Diddy's whole approach and business model with the vodka company, but I'm not gonna do 80 videos about how Diddy is the number one enemy to the black community because I don't believe that's the case. I don't think Diddy's the worst thing going on in our community. There are other, people who are not black that do a whole lot more damage, and so I guess if you wanna reprimand, maybe we could say something about it, but, I don't know. I kinda feel like there's, a lot more for us to do, and I think also you can critique things in a way that at least allows space for some sort of positive dialogue. Like somebody mentioned Lizzo, and I do have an issue with Lizzo's record label, paying her and other labels paying people like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Sexy Red, that other lady, Sukihana, who's, like, really nasty, to degrade or embarrass the image of the black man or black woman around the world. I don't like that. Like, there is no white Cardi B. There is no Asian Megan Thee Stallion, and this is all my wife educated me on this. We did a whole podcast about this. My wife and I do a podcast called Pillow Talk, and in Pillow Talk, she broke down all the traditional stereotypes of the black woman and how some of these rappers get those stereotypes and how some of the Hollywood actresses get those stereotypes. And what it does is it creates a problem because what you're doing is you're sexualizing little girls. You're sexualizing little black girls. Look, don't no 7-year-old need to know, about sucking a penis. Like, don't no 7-year-old need to hear nothing about that or selling her WAP for a Gucci bag. So you're sexualizing the children, and then when the children are 11 years old having sex with a grown man or whatever, you wanna act like everybody's a victim, and you don't know how that happened. It happened because you allowed it to happen. It happened because you encouraged it to happen. You did that. You sexualized that little child, and then that child got to 11, 12 years old thinking she was ready for stuff that she really wasn't ready for. Happens all the time. I live in Chicago. We got a lot of little you know how many pregnant 13-year-olds are walking around Chicago right now. And what does that come from? It comes from no supervision, very bad culture, very bad influences at school, music that's encouraging her to do things that grown women are supposed to do, and ain't no daddy around to protect her. Next thing you know, she's she's her whole life is ruined. And I think that as Black people, we have to understand we have to connect those dots instead of just sitting here and letting it happen and not and sort of living in D1. I'm so happy that D1 talked about this. I like the fact that D1 kind of challenged McRae a little bit about the hypocrisy and the he used that word cognitive dissonance. D1 is my buddy, by the way. It's another this is another one of my buddies, another guy that I've supported for many years. And D, he told it like it was, and I thought that was so brave of him, because you can't live. See, the thing about it is that we talk about the empowerment of Black people, right? We talk about the empowerment of women. And the thing about empowerment is that empowerment comes with responsibility. You can't have empowerment and no accountability at the same time. That does not work. With great power comes great responsibility. So when you have, if you think about feminism, for example, where they're like, "Oh, we're powerful women. We can do whatever we want. We can sleep around. We can just act like men and do whatever." But then it goes wrong, and then you want to act like men are the ones who made you sleep with your boss, or men are the reasons that you decided to pour yourself out for $25 or whatever. You're blaming men. Well, again, that's cognitive dissonance. That's a contradiction. Because the only people that deserve to have empowerment are people that are ready to take responsibility. Those who are not ready to take responsibility need to be told what to do. So same thing is true, I think, with Black people. If you want all this freedom, all this empowerment, you want to believe that you're so powerful, whatever, then you have to take accountability for what happens with your children or what happens in your community. So I think that um, these artists that are working with these record labels to sexualize little girls, that never stops, and you're gonna keep having those same problems. And then this idea that they've convinced you that you don't need fathers in the house. Fathers are the protectors. Fathers protect these children from bad things happening. Every study shows that little girls are less likely to have something bad happen to them if their biological father's in the house, because that's the one man in your life who will die for you, who will kill somebody if you're trying to hurt you. I'm just telling you, if you don't address these issues, you gotta try to kind of fix them. It's only gonna continue to get worse. It's never gonna go away, and all the dysfunction is gonna be all over the place, and it's just gonna be you know messed up. And it's not like the whole world is gonna change tomorrow. That will never happen. But I think that for those of you that are smart enough to see what I'm saying, it is kind of my job is to just encourage you to have the courage to to move your kids away from that, and step away from that culture. That's it. That's my job. My goal is to say, look, y'all see what's happening over here. Come on, let's do it. We gotta act. Our kids are depending on us. We don't drop them in poverty. We don't put them in danger. We don't put them out here ignorant. We make them ready to compete. Let's do these things to make that happen so that your kids are not suffering because we did not make a plan. All right. So anyway, let's see here. Bro, you went to college. Your daughter was raised without you. I don't know who you are, Tommy, but gosh, that's a great statement. I wonder if you probably know my daughter, but you don't know me. So I would encourage you, like, to be careful about talking about things you don't know anything about. But if you want to know the truth, I did want to marry my daughter's mother. I loved her very much. She did not want to marry me. She wanted to be with somebody else, and it broke my heart. It was the hardest thing in the world for me to experience, and the rest was history. And the rest I'm not going to talk to you about because that's personal business. So please be respectful in your comments. I will respect you if you respect me. If you disrespect me, then I'm going to have to block you because we're not going to have that here. All right. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I'm going to go on and go to bed. Anyway, my website is boycewatkins.com. If you'd like to get profit alerts and stuff like that, and the $5 a day investing plan sent to you via text, just text the word stock to 31996. In fact, text stock to 31996 also. I'll send you a link. I'm going to do a Blackwell boot camp on the training that I did in LA, and we're going to do it digitally. It's going to start in about 2 weeks. So I'll let you guys know. We're going to let you in half off. I'm going to take 48% off for 48 hours. So I'll send you a link to get the discount. in the next few days. So get on the text if you like, if you're interested in taking a look. So text the word stock to 31996. Also, my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. If you go to boycewatkins.com, there's not only free resources like our flashcards for kids, things like that. You can also take a look at the book as well. So have a good night, everybody. God bless you, and I will see you all soon. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.